they wouldn't sell her, the big companies wouldn't sell her any furniture, and I was thinking it was because it was just getting started, and they didn't, they wanted, she couldn't buy enough
Mm-hmm.
to make it profitable for them. So she would periodically go to Chicago, buy the furniture. She would ask a Chicago furniture store, if I buy multiple pieces of the same thing, will you give me a discount? And they of course said, yeah, because furniture has a very high, it's like 50%. It's
Markup.
markup's 100%.
Okay.
100% on furniture. Okay, and so they said, sure. And so she'd buy her furniture from a large furniture store in Chicago, and that's how she started.
Okay.
Okay. And she had a motto, something about just a couple of things: sell cheap and be honest, and you'll do fine. And so they had the store downtown that when in the '70s, Mom and I went to. I remember going in there. It's just like I said. Well, and we bought the little rocker there from there, the white rocker.
The one,
Are you recording this?
yeah,
Okay.
so that you don't have to madly take notes.
Well, this way.
It's better.
Oh, remember the white rocker that we bought that because that was the only one that fit me. You needed to be rocked.
And so
And-
we dealt with Mrs. B over the years, and we needed carpet for the basement. And I hadn't said it was for the basement, and Mrs. B was waiting on us. She's probably already
Which house?
pushing our current house. She was already in her 90s, and she was in charge of the carpet store at Nebraska Furniture, because she, that wasn't, couldn't do the whole store, so that was her specialty,
Mm-hmm.
was the carpet. And so she'd go around in her cart, and she waited on us, and she says, did you look any place else? And we talked about the place downtown. I can't think of the funny name of that carpet store downtown. But I said, well, we looked there, and she says, I'll make you a better price. And so she's showing us this carpet, and I said, well, it's for the basement, so I didn't want to get a very expensive carpet. Oh, okay, it's for the basement. Here's some. So she showed us rubber back carpet then for the basement, and then cut the price way down. She says,
Don't forget what she did for 416. Remember we went in to look at carpet for 416 and she quoted us a price and you said, I'm doing it to sell the house, not to live there. And she
okay.
said, oh, okay. So she took the same carpet and marked it down 25%. The same carpet.
Yeah, because and it was a very,
It's funny.
she was going to make a sale. If you didn't like the price, she's going to give you another price. So you couldn't go
And
wrong.
This is kind of stereotypical, but Bob made sure she saw him in profile so that
What?
your nose might look. So anyhow,
So anyways, we did get to deal with Mrs. B, who the whole place is named after. And then Mrs. B became part of Berkshire Hathaway.
Mm.
And the way it was done is that Mrs. B trusted Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett trusted Mrs. B. And so he bought the company just with a handshake from Mrs. B.
He bought Nebraska Furniture Mart?
Yeah, it's Berkshire Hathaway owns Nebraska
Oh.
Furniture Mart. And he bought it with and she said, your handshake, you have to have two very trusting business people to do that. But that's how they used to sell businesses in the old days, was just with a handshake. And so that's how he bought Nebraska Furniture, was a handshake with Mrs. B.
Cool.
Mhm.
Thank
she was very, very little,
I remember.
very little.
There's one funny story about her if she wants more information. When she was getting up in age, she's still trying to do as much as she could when she was young. So she had her little cart.
I remember this story.
Yeah, and so she'd go down the aisles, and there'd be kids in the way, and the dad had to take the kid and throw him in the carpet to get out of the way, because Mrs. B was flying down the carpet aisle. Look out, Mrs. B's coming. You know, and, you know, I don't know if her eyesight was or whatever, but, you know, she was just, so she was so focused on working her whole life. She worked till, she lived till 107, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, amazing. So, once, of course, when she was doing the going to Chicago to buy the furniture, then finally, the tide turned at one point where she was so successful in selling furniture that one day a lot of these furniture companies that wouldn't sell her anything realized that she was one of the biggest furniture sellers in the Midwest, and so then they came knocking to her door to want to sell their furniture, the manufacturers, to her, when at the beginning they wouldn't even give her the time of day. So she started, she started that business from ground up. I mean, literally, there was buying furniture from another city to sell in Omaha.
The original store was, I believe, on Farnham at
22nd.
about 27th.
I thought it was 22nd, but,
Yeah, somewhere along that stretch there. There's no cross streets.
and it
So
was
it's
a
hard to remember.
storefront store. In other words, there was glass right on the sidewalk, so you could look in the window from outside to see some of the furniture, and then we went in there and looked for furniture, you know, just jammed in there.